Alright. Okay, good. It is recording. Welcome back, fellow dragons. Part 2 of seeing what the fuck Natsuhiko's deal is from his perspective. Now I'm going to mention something again that I mentioned in the original games. Yeah, I mentioned this in the original game. Natsuhiko is not a bad person. His methods are just extremely fucked up. His goals are ultimately good, but he does awful things in order to try to get there. In fact, they're outside of his own route, he's frequently irredeemable with how far he ends up going. Without proper intervention, he hits a point of no return and becomes just as bad as the people he is trying to stop due to his problems. And we've already seen a slight glimpse of why he's like that and why that happens, but we haven't seen everything. With what little I know of this game and what we've seen of his sister Nagisa so far, that dude was abused, from what I can tell. We'll find out for sure, but yeah, there's reasons why he's the way he is, and thankfully this is the route where he gets the most help. Much like Final Fantasy 16 and all of Fire Emblem Three Houses, everyone in this game needs therapy. Everyone in this damn game needs therapy. So we're gonna jump into this. Fuck, I have to jump into the voice I was doing for Natsuhiko. What was I doing again? Shit. She had fallen over limply. The barrier power, finally, it's in my hands. With that, I could go up against the world and Shiro Yuiga. Now the question was, how would I gain her cooperation? I looked over the data for the Kuga family guardian. I could easily imagine how complex of a woman she was. She was integrity personified. Held in strict check by those around her, she abhorred war and folly, and was the owner of an honest personality. She was obedient to her family, the government, and the world, a valuable asset to those in power. She appeared to have been trained since she was young to withstand prolonged use of her powers. My guess was that her natural aptitude wasn't so high. There was one thing that concerned me, though. In the past, the world's scientists had reportedly been spotted visiting the Kuga household. The world might have been plotting to use the more easily manipulated Espers as their own pawns. Which is why I wanted to get my hands on this woman at all costs. Even if she doesn't obey me, it's far better to have her than for her to fall into enemy hands. It must have been quite a terrifying experience, as I saw there were tear stains on her cheeks. Her face was pale, bloodless, and though she was unconscious, it didn't stop her fists from clenching and trembling. In her unconscious state, she looked just like any regular girl. Nothing like the strong lady that refused to flee even when she was looking down the barrel of a gun. Why am I surprised? She was dropped out of the sky. I was going to kill all the espers. No harm in gravity doing some of the work. Even if it was just like Ron said, even if the barrier power was valuable, we'd still benefit if it was lost. If I killed this woman, I could prevent the reset. Clairvoyance, psychometry, they were both nothing compared to this woman, the Esper with the barrier power. If I could make use of her, I couldn't... If I could, I'd make use of her. If I couldn't, I'd just kill her. I averted my eyes. Where am I? Huh? I heard a voice and got up from the sofa. They did not draw a sofa in here. There's a tiny bed in the corner. Finally awake, eh? My back hurt. I really needed to stop napping on the off-screen sofa like that. As annoying as it may be, I gave my bed to this woman. If this was going to continue, I'll have to buy new bedding. Answer me. The woman was stunned, her dull gaze out of focus. Was she injured during the fall? Perhaps Ron had done something to her before pushing her off. I approached her and stared into her eyes. Does anything hurt? I will not repeat that scream. Chances are OBS would just peek and not pick it up anyway. Her high-pitched shriek almost burst my eardrum. Hey. The woman grasped for nearby books and lamps, throwing everything she could find at me. Hey, stop that. Stay back! Get your hands off me! One of the stray objects smacked the computer. An error alert sounded like a bleeding animal. Damn it! Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. Damn it. I grabbed her hands roughly. Shut your mouth. No! Let me go! Listen up. If you don't do exactly as I say, I'm fully prepared to kill you. Remember that. Where am I? My home. The woman's face pulled into a grimace. That is not what they drew, though. I don't think they drew one of those for her. However, she ceased being violent after that. Instead, she took several deep breaths in an attempt to calm herself down. Ron is the traitor. The traitor. Is that what you guys decided to call him? Yeah, I guess you could say that. He's been pretty useless in that role, though. Was he the one who made that hole in the wall? Yes. How? She held herself differently from other women. Debatable. Despite having fallen to quite literally into enemy hands, she was calmly trying to grasp the situation. Timed explosives. It's a bomb with a timer and a detonator attached. You just set it to whatever time you'd like to go off. I do not understand all of what you said, but suffice to say he used a device, correct? So he is not an Esper. I have no further need to talk to you. Wait, does Ron have another one of those things with him on the ship? And what if he does? You must not harm the others. I do not know what you're after, but we travel in the order of the world. Harm any of us, and you will bring the world and all of its might down upon your head. Oh, really? I highly doubt the entity you call the world will bother to do anything no matter what happens to you. How can you be so sure of that? Everything that happens aboard the Norn must be dealt with by the Espers and the Espers alone. You lot are being tested. What do you mean? They do this to test whether or not you all are worthy of making the decision. We have not heard anything about any of that. Tell me everything from the beginning. Spare no detail, else I will not believe a word. I could spend all night breaking it down for you, but I doubt you'd understand. Then explain it until I do. I hate when people blather on about things I do not understand and then simply tell me that I would not get it. You're awfully snippy for a woman whose life is in my hands. You realize that's the situation you're in, right? I am the one known as the Guardian. I do not fear some nameless bandit with an exaggerated sense of self-worth. Oh, really? The fire had returned to her eyes, such a contrast to the girl who fell with tears streaming down her face. I thought a strong-minded woman would be a pain, but it was a far cry better than having to deal with a weeping hysterical one. Well, if you enjoy breathing, Guardian, I suggest you learn one thing. Do not cross me. I'll say this much. I had planned to kill all of the espers, but if you play nice, I wouldn't be adverse to letting you live. What? You must be mad. I would never allow you to kill any of the others. Wait, come back here! I then handcuffed her and locked the door for good measure. There was no such thing as being too careful, especially when faced with the barrier esper. She seemed to be on her guard against us, too. She wouldn't touch the food or water we gave her. I assumed that any voluntary fast wouldn't last long, but the sheer stubbornness of that woman far exceeded my expectations. I'm coming in. What was with that squeak? Scream? I did not just scream right now. I didn't say scream. Who said anything about a scream? Sit. I brought you food. I set the porridge down in front of her. The mild scent of rice rode the wisps of steam that rose from the bowl. It was the perfect dish for someone who was fasting.
Good.
Eat. The woman looked away. Heh. Gutsy, considering that I hold your life in my hands. How could I possibly trust anything you prepare? Just looking at it makes me lose my appetite. Whether or not you trust me, refusing to eat is definitely going to kill you. Might as well take your chances and eat something. Shut up and leave me be. You were planning on killing the espers anyway, are you not? Then I shall make it easy for you. Sit and watch me starve to death. I told you I'd allow you to live if you didn't cross me. Shall I take your decision to starve as your answer to that proposition? Why should I obey some brute who admits that he wishes to kill my friends? Oh, though if I am a bother to you, I will gladly increase my efforts. What, going to threaten me with your little gun again? I can still use my barrier, so your threats are meaningless to me. Ignoring your threats, I ate a spoon of the porridge. There, I tested it for you. Are you satisfied now? Open your mouth. I held out the spoon. Never. I'm not going to put my mouth on a utensil that you just used. I don't know what germs you have. I was going out of my way to spoon feed her, and this is the thanks I get. I glared at her angrily. I could feed you mouth to mouth if you'd prefer that way. Mouth? I'll be generous and give you a choice. Mouth to mouth, then. Do it if you dare. What? Try anything fresh with me and I will bite your barbaric tongue clean off. It seems the Guardian counts taunting men as a hobby of hers. What's wrong? Weren't you going to bite my tongue off? Her large eyes were suddenly filled with fear. I definitely crossed several lines here. If something as simple as this if something as simple as this was enough to make her tremble, then why bother resisting? A laugh escaped me. I know what kind of woman you are. You pretend you're strong and brave, but... Huh? Huh, barrier, huh? Stop causing me trouble. I'm not going to put up with this nonsense every time I try to feed you. Next time, I won't be so kind. You may have your barriers, but I know that they are affected by your mental state. Keep starving yourself and you'll make it that much easier for me to kill you later. I do not intend to force you to kill the other Espers. If you wish to die, you can still easily do so after you hear what I have to say. Really? Well, spit it out then. Tell me what it is you want to say. Talking to someone who's too starved to listen is a waste of effort. Pompous man, can you stop being so condescending? No, Mikoto, he can't. He was raised in an abusive household. You start eating, and I'll start talking. All of you need so much fucking therapy, but the people that need the most therapy are Senri, Akito, Kakeru, and Natsuhiko. Those four need the most therapy out of everyone on this on the damn Norn. And also off the Norn. Maybe throw Nanami in there too. They need the most therapy. Everyone on the Norn needs therapy. And unfortunately, the closest thing you have on the ship to a therapist is Heishi. And even more unfortunate, the closest thing that Natsuhiko has to a therapist is Setsu. So, y'all are kind of fucked. And maybe an old world's copy of the DSM-5 or one of the older or an earlier version of the DSM. That's not gonna, on its own, not helpful enough. Being able to diagnose what's wrong with people is not going to help him treat anyone. The one finally began to eat. I breathed a sigh of relief. If I had to convince her to eat every meal, this was going to grow old fast. I might have to take precautions to deal with it. The woman was eating at a glacial pace. How much longer until she was done? Quit dithering and eat. I am. Stop rushing me. Cold porridge is so disgusting that it's hard to force it down. Disgusting? What? Mikoto, don't tell me you're already starting with the Stockholm Syndrome. It's too early for that. I mean, I know I saw this shit in the route from her perspective in the first game, but, what the fuck? Yeah, that is the problem with the Natsuhiko route. It is also the Stockholm Syndrome route. This character's fun, but, boy, is this man problematic as hell. I did not mean it was disgusting in, that way. It is, I just prefer my porridge to be piping hot. Hot enough to scald my tongue. What the fuck is wrong with this woman? She was right, though. The porridge was cold. It was her fault for not eating it right away. If she wanted it hot, she should have eaten immediately. I'll keep it in mind, though, just in case. There, I ate it. Now what is it you mean to have me do? There is a certain man I wish to kill. I am no murderer. True, you haven't the guts for it. Killing a person is not a matter of guts. This is a person's life we are talking about. True. I showed her my gun. Guns did not exist in our world until recently. But now that they do, they are quickly being adopted by most countries. You are not the only person who owns one. Oh, he is far from the only person who has one. You've met It was a natural question. Guns weren't widely known yet. Rather than explain it through words, it would be faster for me to show her. I booted up the computer and pulled some footage of a firefight. What is that? War. That is war? This is the work of a certain scientist. Well, I guess he's no longer a scientist. I should call him a weapons broker instead. He has sold weapons to countries all over the globe. As a result, armed conflicts are starting to break out. They're small now, but one day... But why? Why do something like that? Everyone knows that nothing good ever comes from war. Mikoto, girl, I got bad news for you. People don't care. Because the people at the very top never reap consequences. And the possible benefits that they think they can gain are just far too tempting for people of that kind of greed. The people at the top don't care. How could anyone even think of doing such a thing? I told you, greed. He's trying to recreate the disaster of 2056. Huh? How can anything in the year 2056 happen again? That is nearly 150 years in the future. Even Sarada said the year he came from was only 2015. Sarada. You mean Sarada Suzuhara. You know of Sarada? He's a child that you found, correct? Ron sent me a report on him. He said that Sarada claims he's come from the future. I knew the truth, though. Sarada Suzuhara was actually from the past. A long, long time ago at that. Yes, he insists he's from the year 2015, but he's still only a child. There's little need to take everything he says so seriously. 2015? Does he know which 2015? Huh? What do you mean, which 2015? The one that's still a century in the future. I assume he thinks he traveled back in time. He couldn't have, though. That's impossible. Of course that's impossible. I know that. But the child insists on it. We play along with it out of kindness to him. Apparently neither Sarada Suzuhara nor the Espers understood the situation. He came from the future, huh? As I recall, he came from an era far more advanced than this one. So perhaps he mistakenly assumed that this is the past. Masamune must have realized, too. He's probably quietly observing the situation. The only possibility I can think of is that he is a survivor of the third cycle of the world. wasn't as vague as some possibility. I'd seen Sarada Suzuhara sleeping beside Ion. But this woman didn't know about that, and there was no need to give her any information. Third cycle? What on earth do you mean by that? There were no cycles of the world. Girl? You don't know how incorrect you are. Not just in the context of the game, but in the context of how reality works. There are cycles in everything. Yes, there are. Our world's history is constantly being rewritten. We're on the 4th cycle now. Huh? You must be joking. Rewriting history is an even crazier idea than time travel. Girl? You have no idea how wrong you are. And I know I said something along these lines the first time. In the playthrough from the other perspective. Rewriting history happens all the fucking time. It's just a lot fucking slower in reality than it is in this fictional game. Politicians try to rewrite history to be convenient to themselves. Have you ever heard of the United States South claiming that the Civil War wasn't about slavery? And repeatedly claiming that despite all the evidence? They're attempting to rewrite history there. There's people all over the world trying to rewrite history, pretend inconvenient things didn't happen, ignore things that make their own countries look bad, not own up to past mistakes, not learn from past mistakes, which is disgusting. Those who do not learn from the past are doomed to repeat it, but if you hide inconvenient parts of the past, then you still are doomed to repeat those inconvenient parts, and you cannot grow from it. The goal should be to be better. You do not look away from the things that are uncomfortable. You absorb them and commit yourself to making sure they don't happen again. Commit yourself to being better. And people don't want to do that because it's hard or inconvenient. And unfortunately, it all goes right back to fucking greed. And I'm pretty sure I said that the first time too. This is another StormDragon lecture. We're moving on now. Try to confuse me with all your nonsense all you want, but I will not fall for it. It's not nearly as impossible as you think. Countries used to do it all the time before the first reset. And in this time, in fact, it's your powers that make it possible. What? She was at a loss for words. Her reaction was unsurprising, of course. It wasn't so easy to accept something as crazy as the mass rewriting of history. Of course, the slow, small-scale rewriting of history is a lot more common and a lot more reasonable to think of if you just pay attention. However, I needed her to understand that this crazy thing, this anomaly, was happening right now. I guess it's too soon for her to grasp. She was thrown into the sky and captured by the enemy despite the strong front she tried to put on. Her mental state had to be highly unstable right now. We've gone off on a tangent. I'll tell you more about that at the proper time. The fires of war are spreading. Stopping one skirmish here or there is pointless. The root cause needs to be destroyed. Until that weapons broker is dead, wars will never stop. I'm developing weapons to use against him, but I have no way to match his manpower. To beat him, I need your barriers. They can stop 3-inch artillery and even missiles. And you had me captured and brought here? Because of that, right? Right. To stop a war? This cycle should have worked. It would have worked if he hadn't appeared. We would have had scientific advancement and stable peace. Exactly. For now, I didn't mind the people of the island. I could still never forgive them, and I had no intention of working with them, of course. But I could at least understand why they wanted to preserve the peace. Shiro Yuika, though, he's a different story. He used science only to satisfy his own desires. Hundreds of lives were ruined because of him. He was the root of all evil. Not to mention, he's a fucking disgusting pedophile. I'll kill him myself, even if it means I have to go down with him. If you cooperate with me, I'll delay killing the Espers until later. It will still be quite some time before they reach their destination. What? How can you know how much time it will take for the ship to arrive? Good question. You were going to lie to me again? Why bother? You wouldn't understand. Trying to explain it to you is a waste of breath. And to top it off, you insult me. What else could I expect from someone who is so brainless and compliant? She just goes along with whatever the world says without question. The world ordered us to become emissaries to various countries in the world so that we could use our powers to promote peace. We were told that we would first travel to America. However, even after a moment in the air, we are no closer to reaching it. At first, I thought it was simply because America was that distant, but I learned that it's not. The woman hesitated, but she started putting the pieces together one by one. Someone aboard the ship was defying the world's orders. For some unknown reason, they wanted to prevent us from reaching America. Oh, fuck. I left the TV volume a little too high. I hope there hasn't been too much echo till now. It seems to be perfectly synced up with what the recording's getting, though. So, there usually isn't a problem, but I've turned it down just in case. Hopefully that resolves it and it doesn't hit the microphone too hard again. That was why we were flying in circles for such a long time. Am I wrong? Why ask me that? Who else is here for me to ask? Wait, no, that is not what I meant to ask. The Espers are working to promote peace, and you still say you wish to kill them. But you also say you intend to kill the man who is causing the wars to bring peace. I cannot reconcile the two yous in my head. Oh? If you happen to be correct, then that means that the Espers who truly are trying to use their powers for peace are being manipulated by someone. Huh? What is so funny? I was being serious, you know. I simply hadn't expected you to be someone with enough brains to piece that together, so. The Norn emits a special signal while on board. It's supposed to prevent passengers from thinking about things they aren't supposed to know yet. It's commendable that you were able to get this close to the truth under those conditions. The Norn? Do you mean the ship? Yes, that spheroid ship is officially named the Norn. Your logic is slightly off, but you did arrive at the correct conclusion. You lot of Espers are in fact being deceived. By whom? Is it someone aboard the ship? If you want to learn the truth, then help me kill Shiro Yuiga. Yuiga? That's the name of the weapons broker. Alright, I guess I might help you. However, in exchange, I want you to tell me everything that you know. Though I'd shown her the footage and explained everything, I never expect her to capitulate so easily. Aren't women supposed to cower at the sight of a battle? Yet her decision was so quick. Seems I've been a bit sexist in my assumptions. That was almost disgustingly obliging of you. I thought you would drag your feet more. I dislike being left in the dark on subjects I must know. I also dislike being deceived. But most of all, I utterly detest war. If there is anything I can do to rid the world of those horrible guns, I'd gladly do it. Huh. Well, aren't you the gallant one? Can't say I dislike it. I am not doing this out of any particular desire to make you like me. No need to worry about that. I don't. Really? What wonderful news. I too have a favor to ask. Could you refrain from entering my room? Why? Also, this is my room. Because I do not like having a boorish brute of a man tromping about in my personal space. Your space. This is my research lab. Hey, I have a right to this space. You were the one who kidnapped me. You can at least do me the courtesy of giving me some kind of space. She doesn't want a man in her living space. So she says, but there are only men here. Not to mention the other is a horrifyingly twisted pervert. But thus she's finally agreed to stop Shiryuiga. Perhaps it would have been better for her mental well-being for her to work on her own terms rather than being threatened. Fighting on the same team would undoubtedly be easier if we trust each other. That being said, Setsu's weird fetish and his masochistic presence was a problem. However... Hey, Natsuhiko, dinner's ready! Wait, are there more men here besides you? What about women? Are there any other women here at all? Relax, we won't do anything to you. We? So there are more than one of you out there? No, I will not tolerate this. Natsuhiko, come on! How long am I gonna have to wait for you to introduce me? Good day, noble princess, lovely raven-haired goddess. I would be honored to get to know you. Look, we're leaving. Just calm down. I will kick his ass later. Don't worry. Aww. How can I expect you How can you expect me to trust that you will not do anything to me? Ron is your cohort, correct? Do you have any idea what he did to me? He pushed me off the roof of the ship. I am aware of that, yes. That's why I caught you. You did not order him to do that, did you? No, I would never. Acting so righteous and saying you'll stop wars, right after you tried to push a fragile woman into the sky. I just said I didn't do that. Really, if I find out that you're lying to me, I will make you regret it. I do not waste my energy on lies. No, stay away from me! Why are you acting so frightened?
Natsuhiko-san!
Natsuhiko, I heard a scream a second ago. You okay? Don't tell me you're getting ill in the middle of the day. No fair. Ugh. Setsu, you disgusting piece of garbage. Just get out! Leave now! This is my laboratory. She's sleeping on my bed. So why am I the one who has to be kicked out? Slowly, anger bubbled inside me, but she was right. I was lacking in consideration. Acting so righteous, saying you'll stop the wars, her words were painful to hear. Even so, that was pretty surprising, to think she'd figured all that out. She was raised believing the world was absolute. She knew nothing of true history, nor of other countries. On top of that, there was the special frequency that dampened the suspicions of anyone aboard that ship. Even so, here she was, trying to get closer to the truth. My impression of the woman had completely changed. Though I knew I was being superficial, I couldn't help but admire her dedication in finding the truth on her own terms. Perhaps because I too was the same. I ignored the opinions of others, only believing in the answers I found for myself. I'd known no other way of living, so when I saw her acting just as I did, it made me want to acknowledge her effort. What am I thinking? Let's not forget that she's an Esper. Whether she was a truth seeker or not, it made no difference. If she arrived at an answer different than mine, then we'd be no more than enemies. Killing that woman would be the safest way to prevent the reset from happening. But if she cooperates, there may be no need to kill her. It's fine to appreciate a useful tool, to grow attached, but if that attachment would lead to mistakes, then you'd be better off casting it aside. I closed my eyes and let out a quiet sigh. Oh, no. And that is a good time to stop. I have to get ready for work again, fellow dragons. Why do I keep recording this shit before work? Hopefully the problem I had at work yesterday doesn't repeat itself. I almost collapsed at work. They upped the dose of my medication from 50 milligrams to 75. And that, I still don't know for sure if that's what caused it, but I had a severe bout of heat exhaustion at work to the point where I almost had my manager call an ambulance. Thankfully, just cooling off was enough to resolve the problem. So, yeah, I've gone back to my previous dosage since they were having me up it by taking half of one of my normal pills in addition to one of my normal pills. I've gone back. Gonna attempt that again another time when I'm not at work and see if it happens again. And if it does, I'm going to just stick to my current dose and see if they can add something to enhance the effectiveness without upping my dose. Because I do think we've found my sweet spot as long as I don't go off my medicine. The problem is outside stressors. Apparently Norn9 is one of my comfort games, but also, I've got a question for you, fellow dragons, before I fully sign off. After we finish Norn9, I'm going to play another visual novel. Actually, I'm technically going to play 3 more visual novels. The question is, which one would you like me to upload first? It's either going to be Clannad, Coffee Talk, or one of the Ace Attorney games, specifically Ace Attorney 4. The first game in the Apollo Justice trilogy. So, which of those 3 games do you think I should upload next? I'm going to play all 3 of them. I'm going to upload all 3 once I do. But which one is going to get uploaded first? Now keep in mind, 2 of the 3 games that I've recommended that I've played 2 of them and have seen other people play the 3rd. Meaning, I know a lot about these games. But that doesn't mean I can't still have fun. I'm not going into any of those games blind. I think it's probably going to be a good while before we find a visual novel that I play that I'd be going into completely blind. But that's it for this episode, fellow dragons. Leave your opinions in the comments. I will have a poll eventually at the end of the Natsuhiko route that we're doing. That'll give me time to set up how I'm going to do the poll and everything. So, yeah. For now, leave opinions in the comments. If you have other suggestions of visual novels y'all think I might like, leave them in the comments as well. I've got to get ready for work. Bye, fellow dragons.